Yo, Nelson, what's up, buddy? What's up, Nelson? I don't know if I'm live yet. Let me know if I'm live. I should be live. What's up, guys? What is up, everyone? I'm just waiting to see myself on the screen to confirm that I'm live, and we'll get this show going. Got a lot to talk about, that's for sure. Looks like I'm live. You guys hear me? Give me a good thumbs up. Let me know you can hear me, and we'll go on. Nice. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the game, man. We won the game, which was amazing. We put it away 2-0, and I want to talk first with stats. So I want to show you guys some of the stats from the game. Here are some of the stats right here. And the first thing I noticed when I was watching the game is that Carrick had us really organized in the back. He had us really organized, closing down gaps, not really giving any space to Manchester City. And if you look at the stats, it says the whole picture is painted right there in that we had a lot more shots than they did. Now, when you look at total shots, that might throw you off, and I'm going to show you in a second the shot stats. But look at the XG, 2.27 against 0.45. That pretty much tells the story that our chances that we created with very little possession that we had were a lot better than the chances that they created. A whole lot better. I can't actually wait to watch that game again. But what I found super interesting are these stats here. We had 7 shots on target. They only had 1. 1 shot on target compared to our says 7. We hit the woodwork twice. We had, was it 2 offside calls that could have been goals? And we had 10 shots inside the box to their 5. And we had 3 block shots. Guys, this comes down to good organization. Definitely in those 3 days, he got them positioned better for like putting up a good defense and not leaking any goals. And I have to talk about the center backs. And although Maguire had a good game, I have to talk about Licha because of all the BS he's had to put up with the Scholes and Nicky Butt podcast and the things that they said. That shit was really uncalled for by a player who I never even thought was a good player my entire life. So I don't like disrespecting legends, but I don't think Nicky Butt is a legend, if you will. And for someone like him to come out and disrespect Licha the way he did, Licha, who's worn the captain's armband for us, and Nicky Butt, who put in a transfer request and wanted to be transferred out of our club, just really blows my mind. And I also feel like that guy wouldn't even have a podcast or anything, and nobody would be listening to him if Scholes didn't even think of him as a friend and basically be on the podcast with him. If this guy had to roll by himself, I don't think he gets the audience that he gets because of Scholes. And if you look at that photo of all the people he graduated with, I think Nicky Butt was probably the least talented person in this photo. And I'm not sure what Scholes is playing with there, so I got to take this photo off before I get banned. Get your hand out of there, bro. But that really pissed me off. And then watching Licha really like put together a really good game against Holland made me really happy because I was actually watching for that. Listening to that podcast, seeing it in my timeline all day for like 3 days or 2 days. I really had an eye on Licha, and I have some clips that I'm going to show in a future video, not today, because I'm doing this live, and I don't want to get a copyright strike when I show these clips, so I have to do it on a video that I edit so that I know if YouTube's going to allow me to show it or not without getting a copyright strike. The rest of this live is that a call-in show, Simix. I can make it one. It's not right now, but that's actually a good idea. I will make it one, and I'll go back as soon as I cover what I need to cover, and we'll make it a call-in show, Ed, because I do want to talk to you. I want to see what you saw. I want to see what you thought. I can make it one, and hopefully Shant will be around too and get you and Nelson on and Shant on. But let me cover something that I've been trying to do some research on, and it's only going to take me about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll make it a call-in show. I think everybody knows that last week the Glazers were in town, and we had a meeting with the Glazers, Sir Jim, and the heads of INEOS, and supposedly there might have been an investor there at Carrington to help us out with the potential new stadium. Maybe like a third, what do you call it? Like a third party that comes in, another partner. And I think that obviously the Glazers INEOS would really like somebody else to foot the bill. They were trying to get maybe the government to pay for some of it, and now they're trying to get other investors. And then watching the game today, I saw this gentleman there. I'm trying to see how to get there. That's Sunil Gulati. If anybody knows who Sunil Gulati is, that is a economist. He used to teach at Columbia University. I think he's a lecturer now, but he is an economist who knows the football business. He used to be the president of U.S. Soccer. And there's a couple of things. Is he there to advise? Is he there to basically learn what's going on with the plan and what the Glazers and INEOS plan to do? Because he's going to try to give a report, if you will, to an American investment company that might be thinking about investing in that stadium or becoming a third partner? Or is he simply there because he wanted to take his son to a game and he called in a favor and they gave him tickets right next to Sir Jim Ratcliffe? I don't know. But it's fishy to me. How is he, like, by chance there at the same week where we're having meetings about investments and stadium plans? And, you know, Sunil Gulati's there, someone who's very well known in the football business, if you will, and someone whose basic job is to figure out if the economics of something works. This guy knows football. He knows how to make money in football. He knows how to raise funds in football. And but he also works for the UEFA like controls committee or something like that. So he might also be there to advise Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS about OGC Nice and how they can get out of it. There's so many different things he could be there for. But I tend to think that if you're going to have a meeting about Nice or what you're doing with the UEFA, you would do it somewhere else. You wouldn't do it in Carrington. You wouldn't do it in Manchester. I think he's there for the stadium business. And another thing I wanted to show on my last live is I was telling you guys on my last live that I think the plan has always been laid out for us, because I've been trying to figure out why the hell are INEOS talking about maybe possibly bringing in a loan, like they said it was Ruben Loftus-Cheek or Weston McKennie or some other mysterious player. I hope it's not Ruben Loftus-Cheek, because games like today showed us that we have plenty of wingers. We can even bring on people who can play on the wing off the bench, like Mason Mount or like Cunha. I know they're not natural wingers, but we can bring them on. We don't have a single center midfielder that we could bring on. And if Casemiro gets injured or if Ugarte gets injured, we're down to one midfielder who's going to have to play 90 minutes. So I hope it's Weston McKennie if that's the case, but I don't want it either way. And what I'm talking about is I thought INEOS was going to be different. I thought we weren't going to do these kind of signings that we have been doing. I thought that, you know, we were done with these days where we have people like Weghorst or Sabitzer or Igalo, which I like some of them. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't a big Weghorst fan, but I like Sabitzer a little bit. Igalo was awesome, but I don't want this. I don't want these Band-Aid solutions. And I thought we were done with that. But I think, and I was trying to tell you guys last week, but my video didn't work. I think that INEOS and Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been honest and upfront since day one. And stay with me here. Hear me out. From day one, when he was doing interviews, he said the plan was to become the most profitable club in the world, to build a great stadium, and then win silverware in that order. He never said it in any different order. So from day one, this is what we heard.
In 3 years' time or 5 years' time, Manchester United will be the most profitable club in the world. It'll have, if we go down this road of the new stadium, it'll have the most iconic stadium in the world, and it'll be winning silverware.
That's one time where he said that. Then he did another interview.
Are the right things for the club, and the club's going to finish up in a very, very different place in 3 years' time to where it's been in the past, in my view. I think it will become the most profitable club in the world. In 3 years' time, Manchester United will be. That will be my prediction for Manchester. It will become the most profitable club in the world. I think we may well finish up with the most iconic football stadium in the world, and I think we will finish up winning silverware again.
And there were 2 more interviews from that period, guys, that exactly laid it out the same way. He gave it a 3-step structure, most profitable club in the world. Hence, the first thing they did was cut expenses like crazy. One of the best stadiums in the world, which is what they're working on now. And then I think they will really focus on silverware and start dumping the kind of money in to rebuild the club. Or in the meantime, they will keep rebuilding. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that this summer they're not going to rebuild. This summer they're going to bring in another 4 or 5 players. But I think you know what I mean. The strategy is to become really profitable, cut down expenses, raise revenues, cut out any expense that doesn't need to be happening. 2, break ground on building the stadium. I really think that breaking ground on building the stadium is going to be a huge move towards winning silverware. Breaking ground, I was talking to Shant the other day, I think it was last night. Me and Shant were talking, and we talked about how breaking ground to building a stadium will instantly raise our share price. Instantly, we will become a much more valuable club as soon as they break ground on building the stadium. And I think that comes more importantly to them than winning silverware at this moment. All they want to do at this moment is qualify for Europe. And they're willing to risk barely qualifying. Because why do I say that? Because they're not going out right now and spending money to reinforce with maybe 2 players that really kind of pushes us over the edge, where we all sit back and say we should definitely finish in the top 4 or 5 spots. Right now, we look at our squad and we go, we have a chance, but it's not a definite chance. If they brought in 2 more players, we would all sit back and say that, hey, whoever the manager is, you got to be able to pull this off. And I think they know that. I don't think they can sit there and full chest tell you that we should definitely finish in the top 4 spots. They're not that dumb, but they know they have a chance and they're willing to gamble. Because breaking ground on the stadium is a bigger priority to them right now. That's what I think. That's where I think this club is going. I'm going to sign back in with my Riverside account so we can get Nelson and Ed and Sean on to have a discussion. Guys, thank you if you've watched this video. Join us in the next video that's coming